Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Believe in Tennessee Football. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Kerberson with Reed Bacon. Coming off a good win versus Tennessee Tech. Saw some good things from the offense and defense. Some things need to improve on. So we talk about that. We talk about some crazy games throughout the SEC. Horrible officiating that has happened over this past week. And what this Florida game is going to look like. What can we do to really compete with Florida down in the swamp? I also share a little bit of tidbits of my time playing and my luck versus Florida. So really fun podcast, really great conversation. Let's jump into it.
Tie the game. Snap. The kick is in the air, and the kick this time is no, sir-ree. No, sir-ree. Final score, Tennessee 20, Florida 17. Pandemonium reigns.
Loads up, fires long for the end zone. The pass is going to be caught by Tennessee. Tennessee wins! Caught by Tennessee to one Jennings. Jennings makes the catch in the end zone on the Hail Mary.
Down at the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. What did he do? All he did was score. Joey Pence, touchdown on play number 1.
So before we get into the podcast, got to shout out our number one sponsor, betonline.ag. I say it every week, but that's the place to go to bet on anything. Now that the NFL season has started, college football has started, everything is even more exciting when you bet. So if you're looking for the place with the best odds, stats, lines, BetOnline is the place to go. Go to betonline.ag now or use your mobile device, and you'll receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So it's the place to go. I mean, you can't get better than that 50% welcome bonus. So before the next big game, go to betonline.ag, sign up today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. All right, got to shout out a new sponsor, Balance 7. So it is a pH balancing alkaline supplement that, just helps boost your energy, helps keep you hydrated, all that kind of stuff. It's, something that you can really use when you're working out, when you're trying to get healthy. So it's perfect. It's awesome. So cool thing is we've got a promotion running with Balance 7 right now, where if you go to their website, balance7.com, and use the code BELIEVE, BLEAV, at checkout, you'll receive a free 4-ounce bottle of My Smooth Skin with any purchase of Balance 7 products. That product retails for $13.99, so I'd say it's worth it. Again, head to balance7.com and use the code BELIEVE, BLEAV, at checkout and get in on the promotion. I know I will. Welcome in, everyone. Excited to talk about another victory for the Vols in the Josh Heupel era. Reed, how we doing, bud? How was your weekend? I know you had some moving to do.
Hey, let's go, boys. First off, okay, so I'm going to talk for you folks that don't like me talking a lot. This is the podcast because I'm about to talk a good amount right now, and then after that, you're doing a lot more talking. First off, it's Florida week. Let's go, boys. Let's go. I'm juiced. Put me on kickoff, Heupel. All right. Second off, I'm so juiced this week because the Titans, we're recording this Sunday night. Titans just won. Massive game. Just real quick for you Titans fans out there. First off, now we're 1-1 instead of 0-2. Indianapolis Colts coming to Nissan Stadium next week. We win that. We're 2-1. They're 0-3. We're looking good for our division spot in the playoffs. Big weekend for me. Some personal stuff. I sold my house. I loved my first house. Loved it to death, but I sold it and was trying to be smart for the future. And so I sold it to make as much money as I could. And now I'm back living at my parents' house.
You're a loser at all, bud. Don't worry.
Yeah. Just a nice 30-year-old living with the parents. So no, it was a crazy weekend because it was just moving and I did not get to watch as much football. This is the first time I haven't watched the UT game live and then rewatched it. So I haven't got to watch it twice. And I didn't get to watch as much of Bama and Florida as I would have liked. But you know what? 30-year-old living back at home, Titans won, Florida week. You know, hey, it's
can't get much better than that.
No, it can't get much better than that.
That's right. So, well, I'm glad you at least got to watch it once. I'm glad that you made some money on your house. I'm with you when you say fired up about Florida. Bar none, this is the one team that I wanted to beat the most. This is the one team that I hate the most. I know some people say Bama, but this is the top. I hate Florida with a passion, and it's actually funny because my wife had to get a master's of tax law, and she had to get it from the University of Florida. So I lived down in Gainesville for about 9 months with my wife, and every time I saw that orange and blue, I wanted to throw up. But we're here now, another opportunity to beat Florida now. Obviously, coming off a huge win, and we'll get into that. But first, let's talk about Tennessee beating Tennessee Tech, their offense, their defense, what we saw, and how Heupel is looking for us moving forward. Now, I want to start offensively. Big thing, Joe not playing, Hendon getting the start, and him playing. This was Hendon's opportunity, even though it is a lesser opponent, to show what he could do and possibly take the spot from Joe. Best ability is availability. And if Joe's not there, then this was Hendon's chance. Now, I thought Hendon did some really good things. I thought he hit good deep balls, which Joe can't do. I thought he ran the ball really well, which Joe can, but not as good as Hendon. But the fumbles concern me. His love of spinning for some reason concerns me. I remember being in college and our running back coach telling the running backs, Coach Gillespie, that never spin in the open field. Don't spin out there, because when you do, you lose sight of everyone. You're turned all the way around. You lose sight of everyone. You can get nailed and have no idea what's about to happen, and a fumble occurs. And on his fumble, the guy didn't even touch the ball. They said on the broadcast, his helmet hit the ball. I rewatched it. He didn't touch it. It was literally the torque momentum of Hendon spinning that made it fly out. So just those little things I think can be corrected. But, the way Hendon looked, and I know it's against, worse opponents. I feel like he's a better shot for us than Joe is. Honestly, because we've talked about it, the concerns with Joe this first 2 weeks, and overthrowing the ball and not necessarily hitting his targets. And it's if Hendon can run this offense like he did last week, then I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with either of them going down to Gainesville. Real quick about some of the stuff that you just said, I do think it's hilarious about Brianne, your wife, going down there. And I remember talking to you, and I was like, it was just so funny you living in Gainesville and us talking about that. And you're not just saying that either because it's Florida week. You've always hated them the most. You've always said that they were the dirtiest and just talked the most junk and just lame. And growing up for me, it was always Florida. My first game I ever went to was the 1998 Florida, where they literally, my first game ever, where they missed the field goal. Everybody rushed the field, and it was incredible. I'll remember that forever. I went with my dad. But it was funny because as I was a little bit younger, we always beat Bama. So when I was growing up, it was Bama wasn't that big of a game. It was always the Florida game. And then I guess my sophomore year, junior year of high school, when they get Saban, it goes from, well, Alabama doesn't really matter because we beat them, and now it doesn't really matter because we're not going to beat them. So for me, it's still always been Florida. And so this is a huge week. Before we get into, or we'll dive into Tennessee Tech, I'm telling you right now, I have a feeling we're going to play really well down there. I don't think we're going to win the game, unfortunately, but I do think it's going to be I really think it's going to be a fourth quarter game. Bet
Tennessee on the spread. It's set at like 20.5 points right now.
So I have not looked at the spread yet. So I was going to ask if you had. So it's 20.5.
Yes, make sure you use betonline.ag to do that. Yeah. They are a sponsor for us. But yes, it's like 20.5 right now. And okay. I saw that and immediately was like, I'm taking Tennessee. I think this is going to be a way closer game than that.
So I never bet usually on the Vols or the Titans because those are my two teams. Surprisingly, I bet on the Titans today. And then I would probably take Tennessee catching 20 because I think it's going to be a fourth quarter game and I would see us backdooring that 20. But for some reason, I didn't really love, and like I said, we'll get into how I felt about Tennessee Tech. I didn't necessarily love what I saw against Tennessee Tech. And I was very, very impressed with what Florida did against Bama. But just something about it, we didn't care about that Tennessee Tech game. It's like, as a player, you're just out there and you're still enjoying it, but you're not juiced. It's not a night game. It's not an SEC game. You're not just to your competitive peak. And then they're coming off of a game against Bama, where they honestly had a chance to win the game. And so it's like, I think it's the perfect storm for Tennessee. My number one thing I'm so worried about is the offensive line play. And I will take that into what I saw from Tennessee Tech, and then we'll let you go.
Yeah.
This Tennessee Tech game was a really weird game for me because it was like I felt like offensive line wise, we should have absolutely done anything and everything we wanted, and their D line was so small and just real small, fast guys. And your boy Spraggins got whipped again a couple times, at least once that I saw for sure, where a guy with good hands and speed went right around him. And this Tennessee Tech guy looks literally like a 250-pound D lineman. And so that made me really nervous. I'm like, if Tennessee Tech can get back there, or some of their linebackers can shoot some of these gaps, I'm like, what is Florida going to do? And once again, I'm not trying to overreact because I just told the listeners and the fans that I do think it's going to be a game. And I think down in Florida next week, there's going to be a lot of negative plays, but I think it's going to be a very like, oh my gosh, oh yes, oh my gosh, oh yes, because I think we're going to get tackled for a 2-yard loss. And then it's going to be a low snap and Hendon's going to pick it up and run for 18 yards. It's just going to be a wild game like that is what I feel like. But I just did not like what I saw from the offensive line. With Hendon, I think him and Joe were honestly about the same. Hendon still had a couple deep balls that he missed. He did have a nice one to Javonte Payton that Javonte Payton dropped.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Hendon missed the balls like Joe was.
Not as many.
Yeah.
But he still had a miss to Cedric Tillman. He still had a miss to Javonte Payton, and on that Javonte Payton deep post that Javonte Payton still had a chance to catch, and the Tennessee Tech guy made a really nice play. He should have thrown it more out. So, Hendon still missed, a couple ones that he shouldn't have. He did have that very nice throw in the corner of the end zone to Payton early in, and that was a great throw and catch.
Yeah. It definitely looks like Payton and him are running routes like together. I guess Payton's been going with the twos a lot because it looks like they're, two peas in a pod.
I did feel like I saw three a lot when I was, no offense to him, but I would rather see Velus Jones. I want to see Callaway. I feel like Peyton's more of a possession type guy. I think he's still, or a jump ball in the corner of the end zone type guy, but I don't necessarily think he's a deep ball goer. But hey, it's okay. I trust all those guys. So I thought the running backs played pretty well. Did you see Tyon Evans body that guy when we scored a touchdown? It was a read option, and Hendon kept it, and the Tennessee Tech guy was tackling Tyon Evans, and it was like he got pissed about it and takes the guy down, and it looked like he was about to start throwing punches. And Darnell Wright like came over and like grabbed him. It was like little Mighty Mouse getting pissed, but he was that boy's got some fire about him. But yeah, offensively, I'm really excited to hear what you think about the offensive line play. And we won the game big, but I wasn't super impressed. And I'm just hoping it was just because it's Tennessee Tech at noon before we play Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that has to go into it. I mean, my senior year, we played North Texas, one of our like later games, and we won 24-0. But it was like, hey, you're supposed to win, 50-0. But I mean, it's just different. Like we had some guys that were like a little banged up, so we didn't play them. And it was never a doubt that we were going to win that game. So it just kind of seems like, what's the point of scoring a bunch of, like, as long as we win, we win. So, I mean, I think that plays into it, but I do agree that the offensive line needs to play better. I literally wrote down that Spraggins and Kingston did not play well at all, both of our guards. I mean, there was plays Kingston went the opposite way that he was supposed to. And, I mean, there's a reason why he didn't start to begin the year. But, I mean, that stuff has to step up because Florida is always – their defense is always known as having good D linemen and good corners. And that's what they have. That's what they always have. That's their bread and butter. They can rush with 4 and they can cover man coverage. That's what Florida is. So I was disappointed in that. Spraggins was my guy to watch on offense, and I watched him, and again, not where he needs to be. Did not perform up to where I expect him to. I think he overshoots sometimes. Especially in pass pro, just, sit back, relax. Don't always, try and go for the knockout punch when you're striking a guy. Sometimes it's faking the guy out and then grabbing a hold of him. So, yeah, I was disappointed in them. Offensively overall, I still liked it. We didn't even use some of the plays we used versus Pitt. So I think it's like it was a little more simple. I think Hendon made the right decisions of, hey, I'm going to pop this ball out on this RPO because we have numbers, or I'm going to hand it off. I wish we ran the ball.
Let me ask you this real quick. I loved the Jacob Warren take one step down like he was blocking. They sold out, and then it was the little pop pass. You know how happy I would have been on if that was the play we ran on 4th and 1 against Pitt because Pitt was selling out so hard.
Yeah.
That with play was good, but yes, I agree with you that I thought everything was still pretty vanilla this week. And I don't know, some of our read options still worry me a little bit. I don't know. Did you get that feeling?
Well, I mean, I kind of got that feeling with the fumble on the center or on the exchange,
right? That should just never happen. It
shouldn't happen. I do think it was a little bit of Evans' fault. I think running backs are taught just to have an open pocket, and you're not grabbing for the ball. The quarterback's putting it in your gut, so you just have an open pocket. I felt like watching it back that he like closed down on the ball, and that caused the fumble. Obviously, that can't happen. We need to practice that more. That needs to be just repped at practice. Needs to. But yeah, I thought it was vanilla. I was disappointed in our run game, just running back run game. I thought Hendon did a very good job in the draws, in the pulls that he did have. But I wanted to see more out of our running backs, and not necessarily – it's not them. I'm just saying like overall, because I thought the offensive line struggled to where there wasn't those holes for the running backs. But like that's what I wanted to see was a running game with the running backs. But I mean, overall, I still feel good about the offense, and I still feel like Heupel knows what he's doing and knows how to scheme around things. And we'll get into, what we saw out of Florida and what Heupel can do to take advantage of that. But I still like it. Big thing is Bailey got a chance to play at the end, and everyone was so concerned about Bailey playing this game. Hey, why don't we have Bailey in there? Hey, why don't we have Bailey in there? Get him in there. And now you saw him play, and he's got a lot of heart. I mean, the guy dove head first to try and get that first down when he was in, but he's just not quite there. It's just not quite it yet. And you can see it. The people who watch him, he played for about a quarter and a half, and you can see why he's a third string quarterback, why two different staffs now have put him as a third string quarterback. And hey, sometimes it's okay, man. Like, that's where you're at right now. You just got to work harder, put a little effort in, get better at your craft, and you can move up the depth chart. I mean, not everyone starts out as a starter their first or second year. I didn't in high school. I didn't in middle school. I didn't in college. So it's just, hey, you got to figure this stuff out and work your way through it. But I don't think there needs to be any kind of rush to put Bailey in whatsoever.
Yeah, so I was going to agree with you about the run game, that I thought the running backs still did well with what they had. I thought they still had some nice shake. They still hit the holes, but they didn't have a lot more room. I was really hoping for us to absolutely blow them off the ball and have 4 or 5 yards a clip with the running back running. And so that was what concerned me. We cannot have, if we have a mesh meet like that, like you were talking about, against any of these other SEC teams, it's just going to be so brutal. It's going to be so frustrating, and that's little stuff you can't do. But I agree with you that I'm not going to take too much out of this game, just like I didn't take much out of Bowling Green. Bowling Green were like, whoa, the offense didn't look great. And then he comes back, and I thought he had a really nice day offensively, game planning and scoring against Pitt. Now, all you fans that we haven't mentioned it yet, if you know, it's pretty bad, but Pitt lost this weekend to Western Michigan. So that's tough to see. I still do think Pitt's an 8-4 team, and I still think they're pretty good. I don't think us losing to them was a bad thing. Like I said, I still feel like we lost it. They didn't beat us type deal.
Yeah.
But let me see how we do this week, and let me see how we do against the Pitts. I mean, against the South Carolinas and the Kentuckys and the Missouris and some of those teams. And I'm going to wait to judge those more offensively than what I saw this weekend. We won the game. That's what matters. And offensive line is just my biggest concern going into Florida.
Yeah, and I think, maybe that Pitt game was kind of like just like a letdown after playing us, where, they're not quite expecting that much out of, was it Western Michigan?
Yeah. But there's been a lot of upsets this year so far already. And I think Kenny Pickett went out. So we'll wait and see how Pitt finishes the year.
Yeah, exactly. But I agree with you that, it's more vanilla. You can't really judge everything off of this game. The third downs conversion rate was a little concerning, but I also was thinking, Heupel looks as if he was planning on going for it on fourth down anyways on a couple of those third downs. So it's like on 3rd and 6, he runs inside zone because he's like, I'm not worried about it. I'm going for it on fourth down. This isn't a concern to me at all. So I don't know if that factored into it, but you're going to have to convert on those third downs versus Florida. That's the only way you're going to stay in the game, especially with how much they run the ball, and how much they can control the clock on you. Because I think I just looked at it, but they had more time in possession than Bama.
No, don't worry. I have the stats coming. Yeah. I have them. Let's jump into defense real quick on this Tennessee Tech, and then move on to the SEC and Florida stuff. So what did you see defensively against Tennessee Tech?
I like the flying around. I was upset that Juwan Mitchell didn't get to play. He was a guy that I called out that I wanted to see more of. Apparently some kind of injury happened and he didn't get to. But that almost seemed like they're figuring out their linebackers, because with Juwan out, most of the game was Banks and Beasley, and they didn't rotate at all. So I don't know if that was just because Juwan was out they didn't rotate, or maybe they're like, hey, we're starting to figure out who we want
Well,
at
Solon
Orlando.
Page still played. I mean,
He still played,
and
yeah.
he had
but
a really nice pick six, actually.
Yeah, but that was like towards the end. I mean, we were up 35 points when he had that. So it's like,
Right.
Beasley and Banks played most of the first half. So I don't know if they're like trying to figure that out. Turnovers, baby. Turnovers. I freaking love it. That's exactly what we talked about last week, and we got them. Okay, we got our picks. We had some forced fumbles. I loved that Flowers was going for the ball on that little slant. It ended up being an incomplete pass, and it wasn't a fumble, but he's still going for the tackle and punching at the ball, that's the stuff that's going to cause turnovers, is guys actually tackling and punching and tackling and ripping. Like if you're not doing those kind of actions, then you're not really concerned about turnovers. You don't want to create turnovers. That has to happen, especially versus these teams that are better than us. I mean, just say it. Getting stopping them on third down and creating, one or two turnovers, like we said in the beginning of the year, this high-powered offense will be okay. So finally got that monkey off our back, had the turnovers. What else? I mean, just individual guys. I thought Byron played well. He led the team in tackles in his first game, which is awesome. But I don't think they used him like they could have. I thought, they ran a lot of games and like had him come inside to a guard and center, like both of them standing there to block him. I want him one-on-one with a tackle. Whatever you have to do, whether that's, blitzing to the other side, whether that's, sending a linebacker up the middle so the center can't come over and help and the guard's occupied. But I want one-on-one Byron in a tackle because I think he can win that 70% of the time. I think he's that talented. I think Butler had another amazing game. I mean, this guy's incredible right now. He's on a great run. He's number 2 rated going into this week. I think he's still going to be up there, and we're going to need him to step up huge versus Florida. And then I wanted pressure with 4, which is what I said last week. I wanted to have pressure with 4 guys rushing, and I don't think we even got it versus Tennessee Tech. So that upsets me. I don't know if it's because every time we rush 4, we run games, which is like twists for people who don't know what I mean by saying games, but I just want pressure on that quarterback. I'm glad that we faced a mobile quarterback before we play Florida.
Bingo.
Both of their guys are mobile. And it kind of gives you a little bit of a feel for what it's going to be like. But I will tell you what, our guys are going to be sick of this Florida-Alabama film because we got to watch it to play Florida, and we have to watch it to play Alabama because the plays that Florida runs and the plays that Bama run go perfect with our offense and with our defense. So we're going to be doing both. Everybody's going to be watching this film going forward this year. People are going to get sick of it. I mean, every team who's going to play Bama is going to watch this Florida film and be like, what the hell did they do to slow down Bama? What the hell did they do to take advantage of their defense? All that kind of stuff. So I don't know where Bama is. They don't seem as big dog as they were before. Seem like there's a little chink in the armor, but we'll see as the season goes on.
Yeah, I may have jumped the gun a little bit, which I usually try not to be a product of the moment. I was very surprised by that Bama-Florida game, but we'll get there. Defensively, what I saw from Tech or from UT against Tennessee Tech, my number one thing that I was going to say is I loved that they had a mobile quarterback, and I hated that he had to go out of the game because I thought that was very, very good practice and very good feel. And I thought he had some very nice plays, and that does make me a little concerned heading into the running game in general that Florida is. But I thought we flew around well. I thought Tech drew up a really nice play. Teams just are coming after our aggression in the defensive backfield, and they ran a double pass, and it should have been a touchdown if the guy can throw it. So I don't think that's the last time we see that this year, just because they know that we like to fly up on those screens. And I think
I was very surprised on that play because we covered the double pass before that one.
Correct.
Very well. I was like, okay, you guys did great. And then it was after a big turnover. That's the one time the offense is going to do a shot play. After a turnover, you have to expect a shot play on defense. You cannot expect it to just be a mundane screen off to the side.
The reason that I felt like we did a good job, both Alontae Taylor and Jalen McCullough did good jobs on the first one. The receivers, how the receivers came out, it was kind of like the two receivers were coming out anyways. And then you see the action in the backfield for the double pass. But on the second one, it was just a one receiver side. They throw it over, and that one receiver kind of bananas in, acts like he's going to block, and then comes back out. So it's like the corners coming up and the safeties having to get deep over there. So it was a better play design, and I think that was a reason why the first time we covered it well, the second time we didn't. But we'll see that again. We will see that again from some teams, and we just have to do a better job. Still good tackling. I thought D-line played fine. I don't know. There's a couple times where I saw Barron and Byron Young, and they brought them where they were just both chilling on the outside on each of their own outsides. I don't know if that was our QB spy thing. I felt like that QB didn't hurt us too much going outside, but coming straight up the field, which is always a concern. Byron Young looks like a dog, bro. I mean, he looks like what I was expecting, like swagged out. He looks like a different breed of athlete. The very first play of the game that I saw, he did a stunt, came in, ran into, like you said, he ran into a daggum center and guard, and he still took both of them on and made the tackle or kind of stopped it.
Yeah.
I saw another one where he actually gets all the way down, comes off, shoots his hand, absolutely stabs the tight end, and runs down the line of scrimmage from behind the play and makes a great play. So I think he would have helped against Pitt, and I think it's great to have him back. He looks good. I'll be honest, bro. Anytime Alontae Taylor touches the ball, that boy can absolutely go.
he literally tweeted. He was like, "I think people forgot how fast I was."
Did he tweet that? That's funny.
Yeah, he did. I like that. I was hell yeah, they did. They didn't realize you were freaking burner like that.
Which makes me mad. Like, he should never get burnt because, like, when we all say he has the physical tools, that boy has the physical tools. Like, his straight ahead speed was naughty. I would have loved to have seen him get that pick six just for him. You know, personally, he's kind of had an up and down career, but he did a good job jumping. Like you said, turnovers I was happy with. I love that we got a lot of guys in.
Hey, let me ask you this, because you were talking about speed with Alontae. I'm sorry to cut you off and take you off tangent, but do you think Velus Jones Jr. is fast? I'm confused by him. Sometimes I feel like he's fast, and then other times I feel like he's barely moving.
So I'm the same way. So, and I'm bringing it up again because I am a Titans fan, but I think he's like the perfect kind of comp in this way. But Derrick Henry's the same way. Sometimes Derrick Henry takes off and he just looks so slow moving, but yet he's moving by people. And Velus Jones does that same thing for me. Like, when Callaway takes off, Callaway looks fast. When Jalen Hyatt takes off, Hyatt looks fast. Alontae Taylor looks fast. Like, some of our DBs look fast. But Velus Jones just I know he's a burner because he's going by people, but I know what you're saying. It's just a weird, maybe he's just more smooth. But yeah, I know what you mean.
I was so confused by it. They were like, yes, I want Velus. I want him to have the ball more. He's so fast and stuff. I'm like, is he fast? I really don't know. I mean, I know he had that good return that got called back, but literally the whole return, it was like, somebody's going to catch him, right? This doesn't look like he's moving that fast.
It is weird. You're not the only one that's
okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy, but you can continue with your defense.
No, yes. So I was very impressed with Beasley again at linebacker. I just, for his sake, I wish he was about an inch and a half taller and about 15 pounds heavier, because I think the way he plays, if he had that size, he could have a shot at the next level. But I was happy, with some different stuff. I would have probably liked to seen a little bit better on the QB not being able to kind of run free as much until he got hurt and went out. And then I felt like I saw big Amari Thomas a lot, and Tennessee Tech did have a big old boy, number 74. he was a big boy at either guard or tackle. But I felt like Big Amari, he didn't get the push that I wanted to see. Jay Blakely had a bad miss when he popped up. Then he made up for it with a nice bat down. I'm just thinking of some of these different plays I saw. So I'm happy Solon Page had a great jump on the ball. And then for the young guys, I love Tamari McDonald. Dude had a nice stick, very nice tackle coming up. He had a nice pick. The people who've been clamoring for Morven Joseph, they got some Morven Joseph, and they had him coming off the edge. He actually did have a nice play off the edge because he's an athletic guy.
Mohan, number 18, was flying around.
Okay, I did not see him. So
I just saw him like on a few plays back to back where it's like he's tackling the guy on the sideline, then he's over on the other side, like just sprinting down guys. And I'm like, he's not there yet, but here in the future.
But he's young. He's still young.
Yeah, he's young. He's still a young guy. So it's like I love to see the effort out of guys because a lot of times that's where
it starts.
It starts, right? How much effort are you putting into being a better player, to being coachable, to studying film? Like if I see effort on the field, then I know you care enough to be good. And sometimes I just see guys, I'm like you're not trying. I need you to try more. I need you to put in that effort because that's how I know, like, okay, you can be a good player because you just automatically have that. Like efforts between you and you doesn't take any talent to do that.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with that. So yeah, I'm very, very, very excited to see our defense this week. This week is it's going to show us everything. It's going to show us absolutely everything that we need to know about this defense, how the D-line plays, how the linebackers play, secondary, everybody. It's going to be big time. So let's talk a little bit about the SEC. I would have loved for UTC. I mean, I didn't watch a snap of the UTC Kentucky game, but I was score checking that. And if UTC had beat Kentucky, I'm telling you right now, my football season would have been halfway made, and we're only, I guess, week 2 NFL, week 3 of college. And I'm not joking. Like that would have been one of the greatest things if UTC would have won. I would have pooped my pants. I just would have been like, I mean, it would have been amazing.
I know. I was score checking too. I was hoping for the best because we joked before we got on, like watching the Tennessee game, horn to horn, and then watching the Florida Bama game, horn to horn. Like I wasn't watching that one, but I was rooting for them so hard. Any time that Kentucky or Vandy loses is just like a great day because even though Tennessee has always beat them down, we have overall record that's so much more than both of them. Their fans will still talk shit to us and try and act like they're as good as us.
Kentucky's beaten us, I think, 3 times since like the 70s or 80s. So it's like,
exactly. And I think I saw this on Twitter that someone was like, our win-loss is 1 game different than Kentucky since Stoops has gotten there, and that's when we had Butch and Pruitt. Since Stoops has gotten there, like 2016 to now, like our win like we're 1 game off of win total with them, and it's like they still think they're amazing. It's like we're literally in the worst part we've ever been in our history, and you guys are like, yeah, we're so good. We have the same win percentage. Like,
what's funny is I guess it was 2018 or 19, and they were ranked like number 10, and they came into Neyland with Neyland with
watch it there, Bacon.
I know, and we had Pruitt that year, and we beat them like 24 to like 9 or whatever. And it was just so funny. It was like they're having their best year of football at the time, and they come in ranked top 10, and we still beat them. And it was a pretty like easy, like Pruitt actually had a hell of a defensive game plan that day.
Yeah.
So I mean, we talked about Memphis and Mississippi State. It was great. I was pumped for my Tigers, Memphis Tigers. If some of you know that we've talked about, I was at a season down there in Memphis and played football there. So I always still try to pull for them. So that was great to see. I don't know what other SEC games are out there. Arkansas keeps rolling.
The Memphis Mississippi State game. Let's talk about the punt. So that has been a huge topic of discussion is should the punt been downed, all that kind of stuff. Here's where I'm at. I've been taught all through playing football, you pick that ball up and you hand it to the ref. If you don't do that, they can pick it up and advance it with no risk involved.
No risk it, yeah.
If they pick it up, advance it, and fumble it, they'll put the ball
Doesn't matter.
back wherever you touched it. But if they pick it up, advance it, and it's a touchdown, it's a touchdown. So I've always heard you got to hand the ball to the ref. They can take advantage of that. Now, the part where I think it's unfair is the ref starting to wave the ball dead, and then the guy picks it up. Like, ref throws down the little, black ball he has or whatever to say, like, this is where it was touched. And then he starts waving his hands. I have no idea if he whistled. I didn't hear it on the video, but he starts waving his hands like, hey, I'm downing this. And then the guy picks it up. I think that part is unfair where Mississippi State guys are like, bro, you just waved it off. And overall this weekend in just football in general, the refs have been atrocious.
Well, Memphis also had two guys with number 4.
Yeah,
they had two number 4s on the punt return team.
Yeah, it should have been a penalty in the first place.
Let's go, Tigers!
Should have stayed Mississippi State's ball on the punt. It's crazy the fact that they got away with that.
And then the officiating in that Penn State Auburn game. I'm telling you,
they had him punt on 3rd down.
I know. And my dad is like, he's awesome and he loves football, but he doesn't get too much into it unless it's usually a Tennessee Vols game. But even last night, he and I got to sit and watch that game, and he was so pissed about the targeting call. And I get it too. And we were talking about one that earlier in the day where guy was coming in defensively with the shoulder, put his helmet to the side, but it's the same thing all the time as the receivers catch it and crouch and so then it's a targeting. But that one in the Penn State game to say that it was targeting because if the guy is on or near the ground, then they are defenseless. That is such a bad. That's just so bad for football because there's so many guys that are getting close to a first down, getting close to a touchdown, and
he would have scored. He would have scored for sure.
And these running backs and these offensive players are so good at keeping those hands down. Some of these little scat back running backs that are 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", and their balance is incredible. They literally are going down and put their hand down and keep going. And if you don't come in and tackle them or blast them, they will score. And like you said, that guy was going to score. That was a hell of a defensive play. Effort, coming down, he used his shoulder, and he cleans him out. I mean, you were taught, like I said last podcast, I love goal line stands. You were taught play to the whistle, play into that is across the line of scrimmage. And it wasn't, across the goal line. And it wasn't across the goal line. And it's just, I hate seeing that. And I told my dad, I was like, if that happens against Tennessee, in a Tennessee game, I'm going to be furious. I'd be so pissed.
Yeah, I would have freaked out. It's also do they realize running backs and wide receivers practice in individual drills putting their hand on the ground to stay up? That is a part of the game. They practice that. Hey, here, you got tripped up. Now you got to put your hand down and keep running. So it being near the ground should not identify that as anything. Getting a first down, getting a touchdown, crossing that certain line is very important throughout a game. If a quarterback is running the ball and dives forward to try and get a first down and someone hits him to stop him from getting it, that shouldn't be a targeting. That shouldn't be a penalty. Hey, he's diving forward. He's not giving himself up, sliding. He's trying for that extra thing. And my job as a defensive player is to prevent him from doing that, which I thought McClain did a perfect job at, because you even watch him go for him. He literally pokes his shoulder out so that he can hit him with his shoulder, not his head. And it just sucks that first you're going to have the penalty and set him up 1st and goal, but also he gets kicked out of the game for doing a routine play that he is coached to do that can save his team the win, and he gets kicked out for it. I just absolutely hate it. There needs to be something. I mean, committee, bring people in, think tank, something to try and fix this targeting penalty, everything. It's just not what it needs to be in college.
It's garbage. And yeah, I hate to see that. And I just really hope for UT's sake that crap doesn't happen to us. All right, the big game of the weekend, which was Florida-Bama. Let me just read off some stats for you UT fans out there. If you guys didn't get to watch the game, or even if you watched the game and you might not know this, total yards, 439 to 324 in favor of Florida. That's scary. They had 181 passing yards to Bama's 233. Now, this is crazy, bro. Rushing yards for Florida, 258 rushing yards against an Alabama defense. That is scary. And, well, it's really scary. Yards per play, 6.3. First downs, 26. They were 5 of 12 on third down. They were 50%, 1 of 2 on fourth down. They ran 70 total plays. I mean, hell, they even had the better penalties. They had only 7 penalties for 67 yards. And
Better possession.
Bama had 11 for 75. And then, yeah, they had time of possession 31-55. I mean, yes, it's probably a little bit nerve-wracking for me because I really did think Bama was just in a league of their own this year, and it seems like that's not the case. But it also means that Florida's better than I thought. Their run game really scares me. Their mobile quarterback really scares me. Their defensive line really scares me. But Dan Mullen scares me the most. I love Heupel and I trust Heupel, but Dan Mullen, I think, is sitting back and like licking his chops to get a chance at this defense because we are undersized in some spots. We're probably less talented in some spots. We don't have the depth, but we're pretty aggressive too in the back end. I think he's going to take advantage of that. So, needless to say, I'm pretty worried about it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can put a lot on, having success versus a Bama defense. Now they're full of 5 stars, but it's not the same Bama defense that was holding teams under 10 points every game.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like Ole Miss put up near 50 last year. Florida put up 46 last year on the SEC championship on Bama defense. So that part is not concerning. And then I think Young, the quarterback for Bama, this was his first test. I mean, this is the first real test he had playing, and it's in the swamp, and it's versus a pretty good defense in Florida, who it always is. And I think he kind of got exposed where he doesn't really have a good deep ball. He didn't really – they were talking about it even on the broadcast that, like, he really doesn't have good completions further than 15 yards. Everything dink and dunk, but Bama had a lot of success doing that. I'll just get it to the guy on the flat and he'll make a guy miss. I thought that was something that I saw and gave me hope where the open field tackling of Florida was not what it needs to be. I understand it's Alabama and those guys are really good, but watching it, I was like, bro, we're better at open field tackling than Florida is. And I know it's like versus Pitt and in Bowling Green, Texas or Tennessee Tech, but like getting to the ball, shooting your shot, wrapping up, like that is for everyone the same thing. So I that gave me hope seeing that kind of stuff, seeing what Bama was able to do to their defense gave me hope for what we can do offensively for sure.
I will agree about it just pisses me off to say this, but I thought some of the formations and the actual the quick screen game, I loved how Bama designed it. I thought their guys did a really good job blocking it, but it did give me hope because Florida's about to see that again. Just like we're going to see it from Florida. And these corners are going to have to do a good job attacking it. But I agree with you. That is one of the same things that I saw as well. And I can promise you, we're still going to be taking some deep shots on them.
Oh, for sure.
If we have the time, if the quarterback has the time if the offensive line gives them enough time.
There will be a few plays where we're throwing a deep ball and the quarterback gets hit. Like, it's going to happen.
I know.
Offensive line's going to struggle blocking, and they're going to go one-on-one the outside. And our quarterbacks are trained. If you get one-on-one, take it. I don't care who it is, but take it. And I'll tell you this, watching the game, the one guy that I want to attack more is that number 24, Helm, for Florida. I feel like he is more of a liability. Elam, number 5 for Florida, is a dog. That guy can cover whoever he wants.
Is he related to Matt Elam that used to play there? That was a safety back in the day? Because earlier you were talking about the corners for Florida, which their corners are always good, but their safeties since the past 10 years at Florida have all been just dogs, bro. Like, yeah. I remember when we talked to Dobbs, and he was talking about when Keon O'Neal, who's actually playing linebacker now for the Cowboys, he was a safety. I think he's a first-round draft pick by the Falcons. That boy was coming up and popping people. Then they had Marcus May. They had Reggie Jenkins or Jack. When I was in high school, they had Jenkins back there. They had Ahmad Black. Dude, their safeties are always hard-hitting, physical, just good players. So,
yeah, I mean, it's really just their whole DB room is just insane.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
But like I said, number 5, Elam, is a very good corner. I mean, I could see him winning awards after the year. Like, just what he was able to do one-on-one versus the, elite Alabama receivers, as they're known. I was watching it, and like, I feel uncomfortable throwing 50-50 balls to his side. Now, the other side, number 24, who's Helm, I thought he was a liability. I thought he was getting broken down by the Bama receivers. I mean, juked out. They were going up over him. He had one play I saw, he was on the back of one of the receivers, reached around, knocked the ball down. But besides that, like, I think he is someone that Heupel needs to see in film, pay attention to, and take advantage of. Because I don't think he is – I think he is a tier below Elam on the other side.
Well, and another thing is, too, that I was thinking about, it's so nice that they lost 2 massive players in Kadarius Toney and Kyle Pitts. And I actually went to the Florida game last year. It was really weird going to Neyland in COVID year. But, like, that was never a game that Florida was going to lose, but I was pretty happy with how we competed in it and how we played. And so that alone – kind of gives me some confidence that there's still some guys on this team that have seen Florida, and not them having those 2 superstars does make me feel it's nice that one of those guys still isn't on the team.
Yeah, I mean, their offense is completely different than it was last year. I mean,
yes,
throwing the ball around with Trask and, getting into, Pitts and Toney, like you said. Now it's just, hey, we're running the ball. We're with Emory. And, bro, I just have a sinking feeling, because it happens every time. It feels like every time we play Florida, that their starting quarterback gets hurt and their backup comes in and has the game of his life.
Seriously. And
it happens to us every time. And Florida fans already want the backup in.
I know.
Even though Emory played the way he did, they already want Richardson, or that's what I think his name is. That they already want him in. They already see him as a better player. And I can see it now. Emory Jones getting hurt in the middle of the second quarter, getting rolled up on, gator tackled, twisted ankle. Richardson comes in, he freaking balls out. Defense isn't prepared for him because they didn't watch any film on him, and just crushes us. And it just makes me so nervous and infuriated, because it has happened so many times to us. It's insane.
It still infuriates me when we lost to Neon Treon 9-10 or like 9-12 or whatever. I mean, but the whole backup quarterback thing has been that's all I'll say about it.
A little Felipe Franks coming in.
Oh my gosh, chucked it deep on the Hail Mary. Jeez, give me a break. Felipe freaking give me a break, Franks.
Give me a break, Franks.
God. Golly, though, I cannot wait to see the swamp at night, how we play, the energy. I really want to see how we manage the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
You
let's
told me
let's-
you're the one who told me that there were going to be a night game, and you were worried about that.
Yes.
Now I told you as a player I wouldn't be, but what makes you more worried about a night game than say a 3 or a 12 game?
I just feel like, when I was going back and rewatching one of our pods, I missaid this. I was nervous about the Pitt game because it was a nooner, and I feel like a nooner gives the advantage to the away team is what I meant to say on that pod. And so, like, if it was a noon game, I think the fans aren't there yet. It's just kind of whatever. But a 3:30 game or a night game, I think it's just the home team is ruckus. It's fired up. The fans are fired up. Everybody's going nuts and loud and all that stuff. So as a fan, and we're going to an opposing place, I want it to be an early game, kind of like it was when we upset Auburn a couple years ago. They were kind of sleepwalking, and we came and hit them in the mouth and won those 50-50 balls on the outside, and it was a great win for Tennessee. So that's why. But it's going to be awesome, and I'm excited for our players. And it's a big showcase. We've had one showcase on ESPN already with. I know Bowling Green, yes, but I really felt like that noon against Pitt was a good showcase for us. And now this one's nighttime, prime time, ESPN. Like I told you early on, way back many, many moons ago, podcast ago, I just want us to compete and I want us to look good. And so for me, the players I'm going to watch this week is offensively, I'm going Cooper Mays. And then and Spraggins, like, don't care if I've already said both their names. Like, I think they're the most important. So I'm watching the O-line. And then defensively, I'm probably going to watch Juwan Mitchell or Banks, because I want to see they're going to be in they're going to have to really bring the big boy pants, because they're going to be stopping the run. And they're also going to be having to go against a mobile quarterback. And they're going to have to be really diverse with playing in space, taking on blocks, just the whole thing. It's so that's kind of where I'm at in this game. Now I want to hear the players that you want to watch, and I also want to hear maybe a story or something from a Florida week or from your time. And it's so funny that all the new listeners that we're getting never heard the Big Orange Juice, and we will bring the Big Orange Juice back. And to tell you folks that didn't watch the podcast when we first started, the Big Orange Juice was something that Kyler and I did, was a story that was kind of a juicy story that people didn't know about. A lot of times mine were about donors and giving money out and some stuff like that. And we will retell these stories at some point, because I think they're really neat. And I think now that we've got more viewers, you guys will like them. And a lot of Kyler's juicy stories were stuff that I used to call and ask him, like, about different players, about practice, about coaches, about all that stuff. So not to put you on the spot, because I didn't tell you to get a big Orange Juice story ready, but just anything from your Florida week or Florida game. I know your senior year, you told me that you cried after that game, and it was one of the worst losses for you. And as a fan, that was such a crushing blow for me, because I was watching, and I vividly still now remember Jalen Hurd running like right off your butt, and we went up with like 4 minutes to go, and I was like, and you were so hyped, and I remember seeing you, and I was like, let's go 77, let's go, boy. Like, I was just getting dumb hype, and then we lost, and it was
inside zone to the left on 3rd and 10, ran 25 right off my butt.
Yeah. So it was. So, anyways, tell me some stuff.
So I'll tell you my players to watch. I think the most important group this week is going to be the interior defensive line. Watching the offensive line of Florida, I was very impressed with their movement of the line of scrimmage and literally moving it 2 to 3 yards back. And, you said the linebackers. I'm saying the defensive linemen, because they need to hold up 2 blockers. They need to be able to hold that guard and center there and let the linebackers run free. I think it's going to be very important. I'm going to call out Elijah. I think, we've talked about Butler. I think he's doing a really good job. I think some of the other guys are stepping up. I haven't heard anything since the first game from Elijah. So
Right.
And with his size and athleticism, it's something that he can do. Like, I know he can. If you couldn't do it, then I wouldn't put any trust in you. Like, if I didn't think you had the ability, then that's fine. Just give all the effort you can. But you have the ability to stop these guys and let our linebackers run free. I will say this before I move to my offensive guy. The option that they run, they don't run all just read option. They literally run an option, like pitch option, and read
Right.
the end. I think Theo Jackson is going to be so important for that. He's going to be the guy that has to take that running back away. And our defensive ends, and Tyler Barron, Byron Young, Jay Blakely, like, they need to stay home and stay on Emory, because that's what happens is you not trusting the guy behind you or next to you that they're going to make the play, and you take off for the wrong guy. And that's how the option just kills people. So,
well, this is also going to be a massive game for the entire secondary of getting off blocks and open field tackling, because, like, if a safety's coming down as a safety, you play the alley on an option like that. And if you make the wrong decision, I mean, it can go a house call real quick.
You're
really
the
quick.
safety. You're the last line defense. If you miss,
Correct.
It's gone.
Yes, and those, like you said, true options, not read options, but true, like, speed options. It's it's tough.
Yeah. So, offensive side of the ball, I mean, you already said, the offensive line, which I think is going to be important. But I think something, I mentioned it before, Florida's going to play man coverage on our wide receivers. So it's going to be very, very important for those guys to get open when there is man coverage. So individual player, I think I want to kind of change it up, but I also want to call out Jalen again and hope that he can make a play on one of these corners. He can go for that jump ball. I'm just really needing our wide receivers to be able to get open on a 3rd and long, knowing that they're going to play man and probably send a blitz. Like, you guys need to get open on 3rd and long. We had, before, even though we lost those games, we had like Juwan Jennings and Marquez Callaway, where it's like on 3rd and long, those guys will get open or they will catch a 50-50 ball over a DB. It didn't matter who it was. And, through the first 3 games, there hasn't been someone to pop out like that necessarily.
Hell,
So
Jalen Hyatt's, I mean, someone needs to call KPD, because that boy been missing all season. I mean.
Yeah, I literally haven't seen him. There was a lot of hype around him because of the success he had last year. So it's, hey, we need good performance out of our wide receivers this week. So very important. And I'm just hoping that, whoever does play at quarterback, whether it be Joe or Hendon, that they realize running the ball, it was designed pass play. If they take off and run and get 2-3 yards, that's not a bad thing. Because I thought there were times where the quarterback for Alabama, Young, should have just taken off, where he's looking downfield, he's trying to make a throw downfield, and it's like, I appreciate you doing that and want to do that, but sometimes you just got to take off, man. Just get 5 yards. Like, I know you got the feet, you can do it. Just get a little bit of yardage. I think Hendon's better at that than Joe is, so I don't have a worry in that. But if stuff is covered, take off, because it's going to be covered. Like, that is going to happen in the game. Go ahead and get some positive yardage, even if it is a 3rd and long. You don't think you can get the first. Let's play the field position battle.
I just want to take care of the ball. I just need the quarterback to take care of the ball and not look like a complete clown.
Yeah, because we're -2 in turnover margin right now for the year. So let's get back to even and maybe in the plus. That's what we need, is to get a little bit more turnovers and not have as many on our side.
It's going to be paramount in a game like this. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, covering that spread, keeping it close, making a fourth quarter game. Turnovers is going to play a huge part in that. And so I'm also interested to see what Heupel does how fast he goes. And if we have success with it, great. But if we don't have success and it feels like our defense has been out there for 9 hours and we look up and there's still 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, I want to see what he does. But okay, do you have anything like former player for us for Florida week?
Well, I'm trying to think if I have like an interesting story. But I mean, I never beat Florida, so it was always very painful whenever we did play. I don't know if I necessarily have one. I wish there was like a fight or something that broke out. Yeah, I mean, all I can say is, I hate Florida. Like you said, my senior year, we lost that game, bawled my eyes out. I thought we had it. We were up 13 late in the fourth quarter.
Thanks, Butch.
Yeah, they scored twice. They scored twice, and then we even drove down to attempt a 50-yard field goal and missed it by like a foot. So, it just stung so much. It was something that I wasn't able to get the previous 4 years, and I thought like, okay, this is my last opportunity. Like, I have to get it here, and that one hurt a lot, and I think that had to do with how well I played versus Georgia, because I wasn't going to have that happen again. And Georgia, my senior year, was the best game that I played throughout my entire career. I felt
you're saying the reason you played so well against Georgia is because of that game against Florida.
I think it had something to do with it. I mean, I was very locked in for that game. I think the loss of Florida had something to do with that, where it's like, don't have that feeling happen to you again, kind of thing. And I was just so hype and so locked in, and people talk about like athletes being in the zone, and there's only a certain amount of times that you get there. It's not easy to just be there all the time every week. And I was in the zone that game. Like I was not distracted by anything. I knew exactly what was going on every play, every single play, whoever was lined up across from me. All I was thinking is like, I'm going to murder you. Like, I'm going to make your life a living hell. I'm going to hit you as hard as I possibly can. I'm going to make it the worst thing possible on you. Like, you're not going to have a good day because you're lined up over me. And that's what happened. I didn't give up any pressures. I had a ton of pancakes. Like, I played the best game that I ever played. We ended up winning that game, coming from behind. And it was such a great feeling to have, because didn't have any Florida wins, didn't have a Georgia win under my belt playing
until then.
It was something that, okay, like I got one of those big dogs in the SEC off of my back.
What about all the times we talked about when you had to go up against Dante Fowler the year that he was number 3 overall from Florida?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was either second or third game playing left tackle. So still didn't like have my footwork correct because I was so used to playing on the right side. And I mean, Dante Fowler just took me to the dang cleaners, man. I mean, it was funny because I watched film with Juwan James after that, because he came in to watch the Georgia game after, like, he came in and was visiting with us or something like that. I remember like, okay, what did I do here? What did I do wrong? And he was like, actually, I mean, that was a really good punch right there. He's just like, he just did a better job. Like, and I was like, what do you want me to do with this, man? Like, he's just
you need to give yourself some credit. He did not take you to the cleaners that day. I think he had 1 sack on you, but I thought you held your 2 sacks. I thought you held your own really darn well for, like you said, your third game playing left tackle, excuse me.
Yeah,
so
he had 2 sacks on me. One was played on draft night when he was picked number 3 overall, which he just, I mean, I went for a left-handed punch right in his chest, and he slapped down my arm and, got around me. And then the other one, it was kind of a bull rush. He put his hands up into my face mask, lifting my head up, but I stopped his momentum. But with his other hand, he reached over my shoulder and grabbed the hold of Worley's jersey, and then Worley felt it and fell.
Yeah.
So that was the second sack. But one play I remember that I've told people about, just to explain how athletic he was and fast, was they ran a stunt, had a blitz coming off of my edge on the left side. I had running back help. So running back picks up the blitz. He comes inside. He slants inside my face. I had to pick him up because guard's still busy with whoever. So he's slanting inside my face. I stab with my inside hand. I stop his momentum. He immediately swipes at my outside shoulder and swims to the outside. I feel that he does that. I set back. I shove my hand in there. He immediately goes the other way, slaps, swims. I felt that, and I shit my hair. He goes the other way. He swam me 4 times in one play. It was so fast. And literally, I watched film. It happened so fast. I was literally backing up, just doing this. like that's all that was happening, is I was just going backwards, going like this as he's moving his entire body, swim on me. And luckily Worley got rid of the ball and nothing happened. But that was just like in my head, I'm like, oh shit, like trying to block this guy, because he really was that talented. So I mean,
some of those guys are just different breeds, man.
It's insane. I mean, it's insane. And then like people really, he did such a great job throughout the entire season, but like he really got put on the map during the bowl game, where he had like 4 or 5 sacks and was dancing in front of these tackles. Was just like, literally did not give a shit about them. Was just like, I'm so much better than you. Like, I'm going to get a sack here. There's nothing you can do about it. And people were like, oh, wow, Dante Fowler is really good. And then he gets picked 3 overall. I'm like, hey, I made it on draft day. Like, even though I was giving up a sack, I still made it. But
well, people, I mean, to be in the NFL, you're the freak of the freak, the best of the best. To be a first-round draft pick's insane. And he goes top 3. I mean, like, it's and I love hearing you talk about it too, because I know you're just like I am. Like, I can recall anything when I played. Like, I remember almost like every play, good, bad, whatever. Hell, I could sit here and tell people about some good old flag football memories.
Oh, I can tell stories about JV football in high school.
Seriously, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's just how it is like you just remember those so much. So, but anyways, great podcast. I can't be loud because now I'm not in a home by myself. So I can't say, let's eat. But hey, big week this week. I'm fired up to see how we do.
Super excited. So thank you guys for watching, listening. I see you guys making some friends in those comment section. I absolutely love it. Please keep ripping Reed apart and tell him that he sucks, because I find so much joy in that.
Whoa. I mean, if they think that, that's fine. But if you don't think that, like if you think I do pretty good, we can hear that too.
Yes, I did see some comments that were arguing back and forth about your rambling. One guy was like, I don't like it. The other one was like, I do like it. It gives us a look into, how we're feeling also. He's like, I want to hear Kyler talk. He's like, yeah, but Reed has some good points too. So I'm like, yeah, this is good. Like, y'all are talking, making friends in the comment section. I love it. So yeah, subscribe, like, follow, rate, listen to it on your podcast in the car too. Get those numbers up. As always, we're presented by Bet Online. If you guys want to reach out to us, social medias at Kyler Kerbyson on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, at rbacon26 on Twitter, and then at Believe in Tennessee on Twitter. And then email believein.tennesseefootball@gmail.com and phone number 865-322-9232. So love to hear from you guys. We've said it almost every week, but love criticism, love comments, love interacting with you guys. So please, more and more, as much as you can. Love to see it. And let's go beat some freaking Gators this week, huh? How about it? As always, go Vols.